Okay, so again, we're here for the project presentation. So basically what project presentation is we're just introducing new projects and I'm gonna go over a little bit of the ongoing projects. Projects, for anyone that doesn't know, is one of the sectors of our club. There's GVMs, discussions, and then core, which Nick leads, and then projects, which I lead. And basically it's kind of independent, and then you come up with a project idea, you do it through the club, we help you get rooms and everything. If you do want to join a club, so anyone here that's not already in a club or not already in a project, if they do want to join a project, there's individual channels for each of the projects. You can kind of text there like, hey, how do I join? Or you can text one of the team leads, or you can text me or one of the coordinators. And then we can kind of help you like go where or go to whatever project you kind of need to. So these are some of the ongoing projects that we have. Smash AI, KGen, Kestrel, Kanjo AI, and ASL. A bunch of these projects started fall 2024. So it's been, I'd say, about a year. And then kind of what we're going to do is just give an overview of where they are, kind of what they are, if anyone wants to join them. So Smash AI is led by Stefan. He's actually on Zoom. Do you want to present?
Actually, yeah, I'll go first. Hey, y'all, I'm Stefan. I think hopefully I will be the oldest person who's ever been in this club for the longest duration of time. And if one of you conquers that, I'm really sorry for you, but also congratulations. So I'm gonna talk about my project, and since February or since what? Yeah, fall 20, really spring 2024. I've been working on this on and off. Um, I don't know how many people are in the audience, but let me just speak to any students who are interested in the project. To summarize it in a nutshell, if you guys have ever played Super Smash Brothers and you liked it, congrats, you probably like this project. We're taking amiibos and we're kind of using them as a backdoor to make better, CPUs in Smash Brothers. So it can pull off things kind of like what you see Little Mac doing, or just in general, pull off things that humans can do that bots can't do. The way that we hope to approach this is twofold. I mean, we're using probabilistic programming, so if you're unfamiliar with that, this would be kind of an interesting primer, but a little less so than I initially thought. But it is very RL heavy. So if you're not familiar with reinforcement learning, this would be a great starter project. So on one hand, there's the programming elements of this project, because we're basically reimagining an old paper from 2016, 2017 that did something similar, albeit with Super Smash Bros. Melee, and that's linked there, and it's also in the Discord. The programming element, in all honesty, is kind of driven by me. I've been working on this, and I've been hacking away at it, and it involves a lot of different tools like an emulator to work with the program of Smash Brothers. Some Rust code is very necessary to create mods as a way to interact with the game. And lastly, even Ghidra to reverse engineer Smash Brothers as a whole. Luckily, there's a very, very robust Smash Brothers Ultimate research community and Discords as well that are useful. So the programming of this project is a lot more like you'll see me working on something, and then you can pitch in and say, hey, what's this? Or like, oh, how do you do this? And to help facilitate that, I already have a video up from what, fall 2024, but it goes through the first steps of how to set up your computer with an emulator, how to download Rust, and get all the tools you need necessary to work on a project like this. So a lot of the programming I actually probably won't be reaching out for help for, but you guys can ask questions and follow along because I'm graduating soon and I kind of want to get this thing done. On the experimental design element, though, there's a huge opportunity for collaboration. So the way we hope to test this is by, and I've done some burgeoning stuff with this already, going to local tournaments and communities and getting the incredible, like, where we have Hungrybox, one of the best players in the world who lives in Orlando. And like, if y'all have never seen him before, if you places around campus, he plays that sometimes just because he's cool. And people know him and things like that. So like we have a really beautiful competitive Smash community, and the goal is to create these agents and then test them against local tournaments, not like enter them, but basically have a little table up and say, hey, would you like to play against this bot? And then we get the responses. And some of those experimental design questions are like, can you look at your behavior and like categorize it in some different play styles? Can you look at Amiibo and categorize in different play styles? And there's just a lot of manpower required for that experimental design layout and the way that we want to. And so we're collaborating with the Cyan AI Lab, who's kind of giving us some oversight to make sure, Jonathan Mel's lab, to make sure that we're kind of getting the most out of this project. And in fact, most of the dialogue on this project now will be done, like I'll redirect you from our Discord to their Discord so that we can kind of like have one space to dialogue a lot of around a lot of it. But if you're hopping on the project, so there's either the programming element where you kind of like ask questions and look around, and if you want to help, sure, but like you're not obligated to, or the experimental design, which is like, let's figure out how to take this idea and do some real fucking good research with it, you know? But all in all, even if you don't know how you'd fit into the project or you just like Smash Brothers, I'm very, very fond of lurkers. So feel free to just hop in the Discord, look around, see the project. And eventually, when we get to that stage, we're going to need beta testers to play against Smash Brothers bots and see how they judge their own play versus the bots' play. Oh no, we have to play video games for research. But up until we get to that stage, we still need people to collaborate and contribute. So all in all, thank you guys. If you're interested, again, head in the Discord. And this is again a unique project because like I'm talking with people at MIT about how to make this work and like how to get funding for obviously the training resources, as well as working with people at UCF about how to actually make this come to fruition. So even though there are a lot of different elements involved, I think if you've never been on a project or if you have a really good expertise, I think it's something that hopefully you guys would be interested in. And if it's not obvious from the get-go, we're all just also trying to have fun, and this is also just an excuse for us to play Smash Brothers and do research at the same time? So that's it. Unless there are any questions, I realize.
There's no question.
No questions, and thank you guys for your time, and I'll pass it off to the next project director.
Thank you. So the next project we have is led by John Benjamin. He couldn't make it, I believe he's at the airport, but this project is an AI augmented creative performance. So what they're doing is they're using generative AI to generate real-time audio and video, and then they're trying to mix it together to kind of create a more immersive EDM experience. Based on what I talked to him like at the beginning of the year, he said they were starting the testing phase for their hardware, and they needed more people for the software because they're just about to start that. And I don't know much about like how he's planning to do it or what he's planning to do, but he did tell me it's going to be based on Meta's music gen research, and then something about Ableton VST or Ableton Max VST plugin. So again, I'm not a music guy, but if you do know how to do that, I would definitely reach out to him. He's looking for more people interested in AI and ML as they're just starting that. Any questions? Okay. There's another one of the projects we have. So this project is partnered with ACM and Charging Knights. It's Project Kestrel, which is led by David and Zach, and they have two teams. Each of the leaders actually lead each of the teams. The first team is sensor systems team. And what they're doing is you have to identify what sensors you need and then be able to create an embedded system to be able to take that data from the sensors to the obstacle avoidance algorithm. The flight design team is actually creating a neural network system, which does the autonomous flight and then autonomous tracking. And I forgot to mention this, but actually the overall goal is to have an autonomous drone tracking system. They'll be able to track like a group of riders, and he says it's going to be a group of riders that are going to be riding in electronic vehicles, and then be able to avoid things and then maintain a safe distance between the riders and the drone. The other project we have is Kanjo AI, which is led by Raphael. You want to come in?
Do they all hear me? Where do I stand?
Just you can stand anywhere.
Okay. So hey everybody, I'm Raphael. Kanjo, just to kind of put it simply, my friends and I, so a couple of them, we kind of wanted to learn more in depth the foundations of generative AI, or well, not generative, just in this case, simple machine learning. And we decided to create a project that's kind of a little bit exciting. So I love Dark Souls, I love FromSoft games, and I was playing Elden Ring and I got really pissed off at a boss at some point, to the point where like you just keep throwing yourself at it and you get killed and killed and killed and you don't get anything done and you're just kind of mad. So that gave me the idea. What if we created a model that is able to detect your emotions when you're playing a video game, and then it can tell you what you're feeling, using some kind of predictive algorithm. And yeah, that's kind of the whole idea behind it. We realized kind of like when we were hashing it out that when you're playing video games, you don't really make that many emotions. Like your face is kind of like, like a lot of you guys in this room the whole time. But we did think that it was still a cool idea to kind of implement it anyway, with kind of more I guess expressive emotions, like, when you're angry or sad or happy. And at the current stage, we kind of have that machine learning part mostly done. So we kind of, if we actually have a GitHub repo with it, I don't know if I'll be able to put it in the chat sometime soon, but we are looking for a couple of front-end developers because we are thinking of doing something cool with it. So we have the ability to kind of reface it and see what you're feeling. That whole machine learning part is done. But if you guys are interested in learning a little more about how to kind of implement an AI system that's already kind of built up into a project where you're, doing something cool with the data as opposed to just like making it from scratch, this is like a cool opportunity. We're not super set because we kind of like put the project in hibernation for now, just because we are kind of busy with everything else that's going on in school right now. But when we get back, we'll have a little bit more of a solid plan of what we're going to be doing with it and what we're going to need to get done. And yeah, that's Angel. So it's a really fancy emotion recognition tool. So yeah.
Do you know when you plan to start back up again?
Probably the week when we get back.
Okay,
It depends. You gotta ask my professors. I don't know what they have up their sleeve, but
okay. The last project it's inactive, so the project lead, I think he graduated. And then the other team members aren't active, so the Discord isn't active, no one's kind of making progress. But we are looking to kind of start it up again. And what it is, let's say you're watching a video and it has ASL, it should be able to transcribe the ASL into like closed captions for like a transcription. And then also be able to incorporate like inflections and context. Again, I don't know much detail because when I joined the club, this was inactive. But if you guys are interested, I can get in contact with the previous team lead, or one of the people that was a team member is still a UCF student. So I can definitely reach him. I think it was Abhinav, right? Abhinav worked on ASL.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it was actually this guy called Tucker.
Tucker?
It was Tucker. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember texting someone who was like, oh yeah, Tucker, that's who I contacted. Anyway. Okay. That was all the ongoing projects. Again, I did a terrible job, so if you have more questions, okay, it was
You did great.
if you have any more questions, just reach out to the team lead. They can kind of guide you on what they need if they need more members. Now we're gonna start the new project. So we have a few new projects. There's 3 projects, one unofficial project. Manga Ride, which we're gonna start with, is Nick's project. You wanna-
Thank you. Thank you, Barb. I appreciate that. So yeah, so this is Manga Rag. So if you are not familiar, RAG is retrieval augmented generation. That's basically a way of like trying to talk with LLMs on specific topics that it might not be familiar with by grabbing chunks of text and including them in there. For example, here we have books. Let's say we had Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I'm sure some of us have read this, maybe not. You've at least probably seen the movies. And it's very easy to just ask a question like, in what tone did Dumbledore speak to Harry in the book? And you can go look for specific sections of the book in a vector database, grab out those questions, and then help feed them into the LLM to answer the question. So like, it literally says in the book itself that he spoke calmly in that section. Calmly, if you remember. So yeah, so that's easy. Like you can literally just ask the question and the vector database can just look through the pages, see the chunks of text and pull out the one that matches. Simple enough. With comic books and manga, that's not anywhere near as easy. So just make sure y'all are familiar with One Piece, right?
No,
No?
no. What is that?
So if you're not familiar with One Piece is one of the most popular Japanese comic books in the world. They're called manga. It's about a guy named Luffy who wants to become the king of the pirates.
Is it long?
Hey,
I don't wanna watch it, but like if it's too long.
I'm not talking about TV shows, I'm talking about books.
It's not like the comic.
Yeah, talking about the comic. But the answer is yes, no, it's still long, it's over 1,000 chapters. But anyway, so comic books and manga and all that, they're not books. I mean, they're not like books as we traditionally know them. They're not like simply blocks of text that you could like just matching questions or like do a simple model where you could say, hey, does this section of the text look like our question? It's art. It's art and it's text and it's all arranged in specific ways. So like if I was going to ask this question, how do I do this? How do I go and ask the question in some like vector database, be able to look up what pages are most relevant? And could it be like, is there a page relevant? Is it an entire arc of things relevant? Because I mean, if I'm asking a question about multiple chapters of a comic book, I can't just pull out one page. I have to have like a bunch of them. So it becomes a question then of like, hey, what do you need to get? Because, well, comic books and manga are just inherently multimodal and segmented. There's both text and images in them, and comic books have like multiple panels. So multiple panels in them with each contain their own information. So there's so much more going on in just one comic book page than there is in one page of a text. So that's what I want to work on. I want to make a project that I'm calling Manga Rag, which is going to be a unique form of a vector database for a RAG system that incorporates doing optical character recognition to find the text in the comic book pages, summarization to help try and like summarize what is going on in the pages specifically, and then doing panel segmentation to pull out the individual panels from each of the comic book pages. So that if you have questions about individual pages themselves, you can look at those. And those will all connect into the multimodal vector database so that if you ask a question, you can now literally fetch all the information about from the comic book itself without having to actually look at just entire pages. You have all the information there. So for this project, I'm looking for a few different people. I'm first looking for people with like LLM and vector database and like RAG experience. It doesn't have to really be a lot. I've done a bit of this myself, but I haven't done it in like a production scale setting. So anyone with experience on this would be really helpful for me to know what I need to do, what pitfalls there are. A backend developer would be really convenient and nice, just because it's going to have to involve setting up a database of some kind and a backend so that we can like query this system to actually grab the comic book pages and all that. I'll also need someone with computer vision experience or like trying to do the optical character recognition and the extraction of text, and also like separating the comic book into their individual panels. And then finally, I'm looking for someone with maybe some web scraping experience or like API experience, because we could maybe buy the comic books in print and scan them in, or we could sail the 7 seas and pirate it. So I'll need someone to help me like set that up. And out of all things, I'm looking for people who are just really passionate about comic books and manga. That's what I've basically been getting into somehow since the beginning of my senior year in my undergraduate. And now I'm completely obsessed, and so I'm really wanting to work on this and work with other people who are really passionate about it. I would say this is an intermediate level project. It's going to take a bit more work than like a beginner level project would take, just because of all the different things going on. But I'm perfectly willing to take on anyone who hasn't done a project before, or like a complete beginner on like LLM work, because I've been through a fair share of projects and work already. So if anyone wants to join me and just learn under me, I'm completely fine with that and would love to help you learn this field of AI and like learn LLMs. Any questions?
How much data would you like? So would you need to train? I'm kind of super clear on the RAG part yet, or is it just fine tuning like an existing one already?
So RAG system, so it's honestly, that's a great question, and it would be a case of we would have to get there. For now, I don't think we would need to fine tune a RAG system, but since we are working with comic book pages, we might. For that would take a good few, at least a few tens of thousands of pages. But luckily, there are.
It's because I was looking to make something like also with image recognition.
Yeah.
It was like a handwriting thing. I wanted to like do
Mhm.
handwriting.
Mhm.
And for it to know my handwriting,
Mhm.
it said like at least like 5,000, about
Yeah.
10,000 pictures. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So they said that a good approach to do that is to take like an existing model that already
Yeah.
does it, and just kind of like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's what you're.
So there are existing RAG systems that can do multimodal. They will probably have to be fine-tuned or modified to be better for like comic books and manga and all that. So that would need a lot of data. Luckily, there's plenty of comic books and manga out there.
Yeah.
There's more than plenty.
Yeah.
So did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Anyone else? Great, awesome. If you're interested in joining the project, you can message me on Discord. My name is Nick G. I'm on the AIUCF Discord. I'm the person with the bright red name that you see in the announcements all the times. So yeah, so if you're very interested, just message me there and I'll help you get set up. Thank you.
The next new project we have is Fantasy Field.
Alright,
Already in Boston.
guys, on here.
Yes, you can just click next. right?
Alright, so basically. Hello, I'm Simon. I wanna know here, like, how many of y'all like sports or watch sports?
Yo.
Okay, quite a bit of people. How many of you are familiar with fantasy sports or play fantasy sports? Okay,
What is that?
a couple of you.
Wait, what is that? What is that?
Okay, basically fantasy sports is
Fantasy football or fantasy football?
football, but with that, like, I would be open to be flexible depending on like what people like, because I like a lot of sports and I like soccer, football more, but it's just the idea rather than the actual sport. Right? So basically, I play fantasy football with my friend group, and of course, I like to win. So what better than a tool that helps you select the best players to have a higher probability of winning in fantasy football, right? So what is it? It would just be a tool to select the best fantasy Premier League. I say fantasy Premier League team, which is the soccer league for England, but it can really be a different league or it can be a different sport. But yeah, fantasy Premier League team. So based on player performance, historical data, and all that sort of stuff, we combine historical data with a machine learning model and have some sort of optimization algorithm. And the Y is just basically get the most amount of points. Vision and opportunity. How I want this to work is for this to update every single match day. So it can be every week or every 2 weeks, depending on when they play. But every week, it can be midweek, and give all the managers, all the fantasy managers, real-time transfer suggestions for their teams. If you're interested in sports analytics, I think this would be a good opportunity, and just machine learning and optimization techniques. When I join, you get to work with Python. I'm going to use some PyTorch and some of the optimization libraries. You can get hands-on experience in data analysis, machine learning modeling, just collaborating in a team. You can enhance your skills in software development and software analytics, and just self-create a tool that can help people that need it. If you don't have ball knowledge, you need this tool. But yeah, I was planning on using the Fantasy Premier League API to just gather the player and team data and parse the responses with just clean everything out using pandas and develop a model just to predict the player points. Also, the optimization part is because if you're not familiar with fantasy football, well, it depends on the app you use. There are different apps, but the one I would be using would not be a draft, but you can actually choose every single player you want, right? So with that, they give you a budget, they give you positional limits, and they give you club limits. So you can only pick 3 players from each club max. You can only spend a certain amount of money, and each player costs a different amount of money depending on how good they performed in the past. And also with that position, you can only have 2 goalkeepers, like 5 defenders, 4 midfielders, and 3 forwards. So you need to work with that. The workflow, we just get the data, process the data, get a model, and optimize the model, and just get real-time updates to for the model. Roles and contributions is like a rough outline, but you just need people to gain the data, fetch the data, people to get the model, people that ideally know how to the constraints so they can help with the optimization. People that can help actually, I want this to be some sort of full stack thing, maybe like a website that gives you, let's say a team of the week, the predicted team of the week. I would ideally want what I would want to do is if you can input your team and give you recommendations based on your team, that's what I would think is more what I would actually like in a tool like this. And just project managers, like it doesn't have to be one person for each. It's just like the roles, like the things you have to do. And just kind of a rough roadmap, getting the data, developing the model, optimizing it, testing it, and then the post-launch enhancements. You can contribute, just join the discussion, like everyone is welcome. I am a complete beginner, like I've never done a project before, so I'm sure like some of the stuff I've said is not even accurate, but I'm passionate about this and I'm just willing to learn. If you have experience, it would be greatly appreciated. If you don't, I'm sure you can work things together. But yeah, just collaborate and work on a project together. It's all. Any questions?
I wanna join your project.
You want to go on my project?
I would love to build the interface for you. Can you go a little more in depth with what that looks
Of the interface, like the actual, like, let's say a web. What I have in my mind is you have a website and it has, let's say, the goalkeeper that's predicted to do the most. We could make it, I'm thinking we can either make it most points or most points per pound of budget, you know? We could either make one of those two. I haven't fully decided yet. And maybe have a tool, as I said, you can input all your players. And and it would recommend you should probably do this transfer. It could get you more points, or this transfer is not worth it because the amount of points the transfer costs is not compensating by the predicted points. And as I said, everything is really rough, but I mean, if you want to join, I'm more than happy to have someone helping.
I love the way it looks.
Okay, for sure.
So like, when you mentioned, like how to kind of figure out like what players to like trade and stuff, does that take into account like maybe like current news and stuff of what players, that maybe a player got injured or something? Or?
Yeah, I would have to take all of that into account. It's a lot of factors, so it wouldn't be that. It would be something kind of complex, but we could maybe try to simplify it. Just previous form, how many points they've scored, let's say in their past 35 games, how they've previously performed against the opposition, and of course, if they're injured, you have to do updates. But yeah, I want this to be like a real time. It would like gather data every single. Data play like every week or every like 4 games. So every match day gathers data and it updates the information. All right, thank you.
Now, this is the third project that was submitted. The person that submitted it isn't able to come, but I'll kind of present for him. So what he's trying to create is the Sage, and it's a model that can do philosophical questions. They would use reasoning, it would do, maybe it would do searches, I'm not sure. But it would do reasoning, it would be unbiased, and then it would just create a model. He didn't tell me much. This kind of the questions that he wants to be answered, the like ethical questions, the meaning of life, and then free will, and then any other things that he can think of. He also left me a specific note to kind of say, let me pull it up. Okay, this is what he wants everyone that's like interested in the project to know. He's fine with being the technical lead, but he's not too technically advanced. So he wants people to kind of come in, have fun, and then he also wants the project to somewhat finish by the end of summer. So it is a little ambitious, but he kind of just wants it to be cool people come in, meet cool people, and then advance their technical skills. And That was the third and final project. We have one more. Okay, so this is the fourth project that we have. It's the unofficial dev team for the club.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so I'll start with this. If y'all haven't seen on the Discord server, we have a job listing spot where we will post new internships and new graduate roles every day, like every 6 hours, we will post a bunch of new roles that have just freshly been posted online. We started this last fall as a resource for our members to actually try and find good quality internships and apply for them soon, because although some people disagree with me on this, being first in line in the application. What in the world?
Yeah, no, you do it.
Yeah, being first in line for the application will get you more seen. I mean, at least in my experience, if you apply a couple days later, I've never gotten any interest, but if I apply within like the listing opening, I get a lot more interviews. So this is what we provided. We're right now, one of our things is that we're looking to renovate the bot. Because right now it's just a giant list of like a giant list of posts under a single channel. And we're looking to make it into more of a forum type channel that Discord can use. If you haven't seen, Discord can actually do like forum post channels now. So we're looking to do that. And right now, the thing we're trying to look for is like integrate a tagging system for all of our forum posts as well. To tag like the location, the degree requirements they're looking for, the languages and the companies and things like that. We think that this will make it a better resource for our members, and because you can more easily scroll through all the listings, you can filter them out based on what the types of roles you're interested in, or like if you're looking for internships or new grad roles, or you don't want to see anything for a PhD, and you're not a PhD. And it also just allows people to actually discuss the roles, because the channel right now is currently closed. And so this is going to be a more software engineering oriented project with machine learning integration. So if you feel your machine learning experience is not very high, but you have like some good experience, like writing up software code, I think this would be a good project for you. And this will help you, this would really help the club improve their current offerings.
The second thing we want to change is the robot that we have. So this is kind of what we currently have. It's very tedious. So let's say you want like a list of all the roles, you do dot self role and then list, and then it would give you that list. And then you have to do individual things. So dot self role undergrad, you can't add more things to it. And then it's kind of tedious. If you misspell something, it's going to give you an error. It doesn't add it. So kind of what we want to do is have an emoji bot. So there'd be like the bot would put like something there, and then it sets colors, but we'd have things like, oh, what's your degree? Are you currently pursuing an undergraduate, a graduate, a PhD, or are you an alumni? And then you can kind of click it. It would be a single click thing. We also have other roles in the Discord. So things like e-boards, directors, we want to be still able to like add them manually. And yeah, the previous thing, like clusters it a lot. So if anyone wants to pull up the Discord on their phone, you can just keep scrolling up. It's everyone just constantly putting things in, and it's not great. The other thing we want to do is create a website. So currently we have a website, but if you search the website up, you can't find it, even though it does exist. We want to have like a more professional website, something that would like get engagement throughout the club. So more people can show up, more people can find out like, oh, we have events in like a day. We have events on Thursday. We also want to have like a centralized hub. So all our information is on there, things like past projects. So currently it's really hard to like see, oh, we've had this past project. I know you were talking about like a handwriting thing. I think we had that, but like, it's hard to know that we did it. We also want to add like a RAD chatbot. This one's undecided at the moment, but I think it would be pretty cool. Something where like you can put all the information in, and then you can just like chat with it. So if I'm anyone that's like interested in joining the club, I can find out what are the projects, when is the GBM, and it's just all in chatbot. So that's what we plan to do. It's in a project form. It's not a dev team at the moment, so no.
So thank you all. Just like we said before, we're going to post the slides of everything we presented today onto the Discord server along with the recording of the meeting. For the project leads, we are going to add you a project lead channel. We're gonna add you a project lead role and add your project to our channel list for our project. And then we will let you know when we do that. And so any members that are interested in you will message you in those project channels. Great.